beautiful day outside, but man, oh man, is it hot out here. I'm going back inside. There are going to be days like this where you want something that's going to really cool you down. This past month has been brutal. It usually is in July, but here's something that I found and I whipped up just for you guys that's carnivore friendly.
Three simple ingredients are all that you need. You need heavy whipping cream, you need vanilla, and then you also need 3 egg yolks, and you need also an ice cream container. Just use what you've got on hand. I happen to have the Ninja Creamy Foodie containers. Now that we have all of our ingredients ready, let's go ahead and start this recipe.
First thing you're going to need are 3 egg yolks. I go ahead and I mix it up really thoroughly so that way it doesn't separate with the other ingredients. As soon as I'm done mixing it up, I put about 1/4 of a teaspoon of vanilla, but I also eyeballed it as well. You don't need to use vanilla, but if you are doing strict carnivore, you might want to skip that ingredient, but I like vanilla, so I'm adding it. Also, I added heavy whipping cream that's organic by Horizons, and I left a little bit of space you might notice between that top line. It's okay because once you add your egg yolks to the heavy whipping cream, you're going to need all of that additional space. Now, I do recommend scraping the sides and the bottom of the container as you mix this thoroughly. Now, it's not going to look yellow right now. It's going to have a slight, I want to say like almost like a slight creamy off-white color. But I'm going to tell you, you can add a little pinch of salt. This is optional. You do not need to do this. But I noticed if you do choose to use a sweetener, you might want to use the salt as well because it does bring out a slightly different taste to it, which is very nice. Okay, mix it thoroughly so you're not having salt patches on the bottom of your container. And now you want to make sure that you are closing the cap on your ice cream container thoroughly so it doesn't have like a freezer burnt taste. I'm using one hand, so I've got to push this down with both. You'll see in a second. All right, pushing it down. And okay. So now we're going to go ahead, put this in the freezer, and we're going to leave this in the freezer for 3 hours. All right, now that we've got our ice cream, check this out. We're going to go ahead and scoop it, and it is going to be the closest to vanilla ice cream that you've ever had. It has a very light sweet taste. It's not overpowering. The sweetness is coming from, of course, the heavy whipping cream, but it's the closest to ice cream you can get while still remaining carnivore. I recommend if you are eating this, do not eat straight out of the container because it might be gone. So you may want to just go ahead and take a few scoops and place them in a small bowl. But this is a creamy, dreamy carnivore, no machine ice cream that you can use. Now, yeah, it was good. It was exactly what I needed, guys. But I will say, even with this creamy taste, and if you have ice cream like this and you leave it in for longer than 4 hours, for longer than 3 hours, you may have a little bit of a challenge. So I'm gonna eat this last scoop. And then I'm gonna show you what happens if you've left it in the freezer for longer than 3 hours. All right, longer than 3 hours, I created another batch because I had finished that like a few days ago. But this particular batch is extremely hard. Now you're gonna see that there are grooves here on the bottom. You wanna make sure that it fits in the groove of your ice cream maker. This is a Ninja Creamy Ice Cream Maker I have. This is to make sure that that your cup doesn't move around. Now you're going to go ahead and take the lid and you're going to fit it securely on the top of the ice cream. Make sure that you push it to your left side so it locks the lid in place. And then once you do that, you're going to set it on the base of this ice cream maker. And again, that's going to lock in place as well. When you turn it, it's going to lock, and then it's also going to move up when you turn it to the right. Okay, here's the cool thing. Make sure you're pressing the power button on, right? Because it's not going to do anything if you don't press power. Press the power button and then press ice cream. When you press ice cream, you're going to hear a loud sound, and that's okay because that's the sound it's supposed to make. Once it's making that sound, I just want to show you really quick. You're gonna see there's lots of options of buttons. You have mix-ins, and you can also do a respin if it's not soft enough. All right, I fast forwarded it for you, so this is how it's going to look. When you take it out, it may have a very nice light and fluffy look to it. And honestly, it was a little crumbly. It was a little crumbly. It was still creamy and it was still soft, but it was edible. So I wanted it to be a little softer, and this might happen to you. You might say, "Well, Mel, I don't want crumbly ice cream. I want it more creamy." So this is what you're gonna do if you want a more creamier texture instead of this little bit crumbly texture. I'm gonna give this a try anyway. It still tastes good, but I still want it to be smooth like it's coming out from the store. So I just dumped it back in a cup. But now I'm going to go ahead and add at least 1/4 of a cup of Horizons heavy whipping cream. And now that I've added my whipping cream, I'm going to put this back on the creamy ice cream maker, and I'm just going to press respin. Once I pressed respin, you're going to see the texture is going to be slightly different. It's still going to look crumbly, but I'm telling you, it's going to have a smoother scoop. It's got a softer texture, and it's almost the texture that I wanted. So here's what we're gonna do. This is the test right here. Yes, it's a little crumbly with the spoon, but when I use my ice cream scooper, this is the true test, y'all. Look at that. All right, so now you can see this scoop's a lot easier, and watch this. Bam, I get a perfect scoop. Ah, I love it. So this is gonna be great if you're doing like you want just a certain amount. Maybe you just want a certain serving, but this is the perfect carnivore ice cream treat. You don't have to worry about a ton of calories. You don't have to worry about counting carbs. This one is just made out of 3 simple ingredients, optional 4. And it's nice to have on a really hot day, especially when everyone else has ice cream and you don't. So you can give this to anyone that also likes ice cream if they want to be a carnivore, if they're transitioning from being a carnivore. Give them this recipe. You can send them this link. And of course, you can go ahead and click on these next videos for meals that you want as a carnivore and how to become a carnivore. Some top tips that I wish somebody told me. Go ahead and click on that screen right now.
See you in the next video.